Hey all, Eskie here, bringing you another Deadlock replay review. So in this replay, we're watching RangeRns. He does stream. The link will be down below in the comments. He's one of the top 5 Wardens in NA right now. So definitely someone who knows Warden pretty well, someone to learn from. So right off the bat, we're going to talk about the lane. So we have Vindicta and Lash versus a Dynamo and a Warden. So if you think about this lane, nice headshots on the Vindicta there to get a lot of damage on her. If you think about this lane, and Dynamo's already taken a lot of damage, Vindicta and Lash are going to be good at harassing. Generally from a distance, Lash, does have some abilities that are going to be more personal, like dive strike right up in your face. But for the generally, Lash is going to be sitting back poking, Vindicta is going to be sitting back poking. And Dynamo and Warden, on the other hand, much more close range characters. He does pop the binding word on him there. Not going to get that, though. Gets staked by the Vindicta. I think the Vindicta missed Crow. Lash going a little aggressive here. Dynamo is low, so that's why they can be aggressive. So Warden and Dynamo, much more close quarters lane. Wants to be up, hit him with Alchemical Flash, get him hit with a binding word. Dynamo with his knockup. And so Dynamo and Warden in this lane are going to want to combo. They actually have some pretty good sustain with Dynamo to kind of, survive the poke that's going to be happening. But to really get a kill here, you're going to have to pretty much combo. And like I've told you guys before, but it bears repeating pretty much every time, you really want to be focused on farming first. Kills in the early game are not going to be that useful. You want to make sure that you're getting every creep kill and every floating soul as well. If you can hear that, they're getting denied a few times there. So making sure you're playing a little bit up, obviously using cover though. And if you could see Dynamo here using cover very well to stay up close in the lane to try to get those last hits, while still trying to avoid getting poked down by Vindicta or Lash. So focusing on farming here, and then if you have the opportunity, you can go for the kill. So another big thing here, and if you guys don't know, if you position yourself correctly there, if you saw, you can get a melee off on both of those small minions, so that ramps up your clear time a lot. So that's something you should consider doing, is if you position yourself basically in the middle of one of the minions and then punch towards the other minion, sorry, not minions, jungle creeps. Actually, I don't know the actual name for them, but the jungle creeps, then you'll have a lot more DPS on them. And it's always important to keep in mind early game when those spawn, so that you can go grab them when you have downtime in the lane. Just help ramp up your farm there. Farming in the early game is going to be the big thing, making sure that you can get ahead or at least stay on pace with the enemy team. So let's look at the lane real quick. So they're on 1.7, 1.8k to Lash and Vindicta's 2.1. So Lash and Vindicta are probably up roughly an item right now. Although they just bought, so they're probably now even on items. So that's just another thing to keep in mind of in lane. Ooh, big dive strike there. Actually, is that dive strike or is that just the voice line? I don't know the name of these skills. So he did get the binding word on the Lash, and if you saw that, one of the things you want to do when you have binding word on them is you super easy headshots there, and that's what he was doing. He was headshotting the Lash there. That's why Lash is so low right now. But the reason you can't really go for this Lash is because the Vindicta is on still pretty much full health here. Vindicta is still very scary. She could stake you. So even though the Lash is low health there, you're not going to be able to go in because Dynamo is also low health. So it's not necessarily a 2v1 at that point. It's still essentially a 1v1 with the Vindicta. Sorry. Oh, big dive strike there. A lot of damage on Warden. He does get the binding word off, and looks like Pocket came over to help get the kill here. Ooh, this is a really risky peek. So he's on 100 health here. The Vindicta doesn't know where he's at. I think this is way too risky. Oh, shoots his feet below the bridge. That sucks. So I think that was a pretty risky peek there. You had Pocket, you had Dynamo there to try to get that Vindicta kill. So you really didn't need to do that. I think that was a bit of bad positioning there. So using his speed boost to go into a different lane to try to get a gank off. Does miss the gank on the Wraith. So I think the concept there is good. You know, that's one of the great uses of your zipline speed, depending on who your character is in the early game, is if you have a lot of gank potential, which Warden does if he's able to land Binding Word, then using your speed boost like that to really come off the zip line with a ton of momentum, so you can essentially get behind the enemy that's laning there. Very, very useful, but doing it on a Wraith, not that useful because she does have Blink. Popping the ultimate here, Lash gets his ult down as well. They get the kill on the Lash, so really good kill there. He had popped his last stand, so that was a big deal. Popping your last stand at the right time as your Warden is going to kind of make or break the character, especially early game. Early game, you're not going to have, you know, the ability to reload your clip with like a Quicksilver reload or have a lot of damage on your weapon. You can still put some damage down, but to really secure a kill, you need to hit basically Binding Word and Last Stand, and that's what he did there. So they were able to secure that kill on the Lash. And now if we look at the farm here, teams are pretty even. Vindicta is pretty far ahead, though. She's at least one item ahead right now. So just something to keep in mind, you know, Vindicta getting those snipes is going to kind of spike her early game farm. So it's just something you have to hit the bridge there. I do that too. Everybody hits the bridge, right? Once in a while with some skill shots. So just one thing to keep in mind there is Vindicta is going to be a little bit more powerful than you right now. And that's always something that you got to be checking, is just looking up, kind of giving a mental note of, hey, they're probably one item up on me. I just need to be careful here, not necessarily go too deep on them. So Vindicta is missing here. I don't know if she went back. Oh, she's okay. She just killed the Bebop in the side lane, so she had rotated there. So this is their opportunity to push right now. Although that opportunity, nope. So Vindicta just showed in the left side. So right now is their opportunity. They need to put pressure on the tower. It looks like Wraith has rotated over though, which kind of prevents that from happening. And that's what you'll see in a lot of the high level games is teams rotating properly. So because Wraith saw them pushing up there, Vindicta had rotated to the side lane. Wraith is going to rotate over there and help relieve that pressure on the Lash. So really good rotation from that Wraith. Crouching here to remove his footsteps, I believe. Seeing if he can get a kill on this Vindicta. Yeah, Vindicta's just going to be so hard to Binding Word. So she's at full stamina there. I mean, good chunk of damage on her to put pressure there. But it's just very hard to hit Binding Word in the early game if someone has full stamina. Especially Vindicta, if she has Flight as well, she could just use Flight as her movement ability. So does get his last stand off there. I don't know what happened. Oh, did he... Big kill on the Lash there, and the Wraith as well. Ooh, Shevin's chasing him. He's going to die there. See if Abrams can clean up. So Lash, I thought, got the ult off on Warden there. Ooh, big snipe, big snipe. So it looked like Lash got the ult off on the Warden. I think Dynamo did his... Is it Quantum Entanglement? I can't remember. Whatever that makes you the ball that essentially dodges that. So I think Dynamo got a pretty good Quantum Entangle off there to dodge that, and they were able to net 2 kills there. I think overall a pretty even trade. They are up in souls right now. Vindicta did get the snipe off there on that, on the Abrams. And, you know, Vindicta snipes in the early game trying to spike those souls can be pretty lethal. I mean, she is pretty far up right now. Her and 7 sitting at 9 and 8K. So she's a full 2K souls up. So that's at least 2 to 3 items right there. So just kind of farming right here. This is going to be largely, mostly a spirit build. I would say kind of hybrid as well. So you see already 2 points here in the ultimate. So that's going to be a big part of this build as well. And we're going to be using one of the new items, which is going to be really interesting to see. I'm not going to spoil it, but you guys will see which item we use. So I would say most Wardens, pretty typical in the early game, go mostly weapon damage items. You know, some of these weapon damage items like slowing bullets is going to give you spirit as well. But, you know, a lot of weapon damage items, because that's going to be your main form of damage early on. So they did get the Dynamo kill here. He's going to have to back off. Can't really 2v1 this. He's not farmed enough. Vindicta is very farmed. we're just going to defend this turret here, catch this wave. If you notice the way he's rotating, he's generally staying around this Guardian. He is trying to make sure he picks up all the jungle camps, though, as well. And now that he sees, so if you see, you see 3 enemies here on this lane. Vindicta's the only one over here. Dynamo is coming to help. He's going to pop his ultimate here. Go pretty hardcore on this Vindicta. Do I just hit the binding word? That's a really good binding word. Should get the kill here. And does get the kill on the Vindicta. That's big, and that's a really big bag. So that's a 600 bag this early. So that was great swing for them. Probably should just back off here at this point because there was 3 in this lane over here. So yeah, there's 2 right here now. So basically what happened there is they saw the 3 over here. Vindicta was by herself in this lane. And because they know that they can dive her. And being able to hit that binding word was really great. And that's what helped secure them the kill, right? So the early ultimate from him, because he knows that ultimate is going to be very important. Ultimate is a large portion of his damage to net kills. And then being able to hit that binding word, getting that kill, huge swing there. And if you notice now, Vindicta's still on 11k. He's on 10k now. So he's caught up to the Vindicta here. And yeah, like I said, rotating around, generally staying in the middle lanes, rotating around, using the audio here. He could hear the audio from the 7 doing this camp. What? Okay, that has to be... Okay, I don't know how they went through the floor there. I'm pretty sure, basically, this replay probably happened on an older patch that had a... I don't know. You guys explain to me how they went through the floor there. Patches happen so quick in this game that I just don't know what happens half the time, so... So chasing here, they do have a walker. They have to be careful. Does get the kill there. I'm going to grab this bag as well. This is a 600 bag, which is still pretty impactful here early on. And yeah, so basically the way that fight started, he's rotating around trying to make sure he farms the camps around the middle. He heard the audio of the 7 farming in the middle there, probably in comms, called out, hey, 7's in middle, let's go get him. Started that fight. They were able to get that kill. I think they got another kill as well. I was too distracted by them going through the floor there, though. And yeah, so this is the new urn spot. I don't know if you guys saw. This is, my understanding, just experimental for the weekend games, basically, where the urn is in the middle here. So they were just able to turn in the urn there. Game's still very, very even, though. And so now is the time to start thinking about, you know, hey, who on their team is farmed? Who do I need to counter here? So if we look at their team's farm here, it's mainly Hayes, 7, and Vindicta. So if you think about, you know, Hayes, 7, and Vindicta, what are some items I could possibly build into them? All of them care about fire rate. So a Mystic Slow, a Suppressor would be some good items. Knockdown for the Vindicta, even knockdown for the 7 and Hayes are perfectly acceptable as well because that gives you some CC on them. So just trying to think about now that you've hit the mid game and you see who's going to be farmed. Pops his ultimate really early there and gets the kill. Another thing that you'll see him do, he does get stunned there, unfortunately. Oh, no. So he tried to punch the walker there to get the kill because he had to reload. But Vindicta and I believe that was Wraith had came in, gave him a knockdown, so he wasn't able to get that walker kill. It's really, really unfortunate for him. And there's 2 big bags right there as well. So that was good rotations from the enemy team there. Let's speed up this death. And yeah, so here we go. Arcane Surge. Maybe you guys guessed it because he had bought Kinetic Dash first. But Arcane Surge is going to be a big power spike in this build. And like I said, it's kind of an ult build. It's going to be hybrid at the end of the day, but largely an ult build. How did he punch through that? It's an alpha, right? And yeah, so if you guys didn't know, you have to punch the buffs now. I think that's a great change. The buffs also... Ooh, Wraith ult there. Then he's going to die again. Tried to get that walker. I don't know if that was worth it in the long run, though. But yeah, so You now have to punch the buffs to secure them instead of just walking over them. I think that's a great change. It makes securing buffs a little bit harder. You can't just be standing on them at the whatever the minute mark is they spawn. Another change they made is that buffs scale now, so they're weaker in the early game, but stronger in the late game. So they're not as impactful in the early game. Still definitely worth getting, though, and very strong in the late game. Going really hard down here. I don't think he got his Arcane Surge on his ultimate, though. We will talk about that combo. Big slam by the Lash there, and he's going to die. So, yeah, really, really aggressive there. I don't think that that was worth it, though. They are going to get that Walker. His team does get a kill off that death, though. So some consecutive deaths here, and this is something you guys need to keep in mind, right? So he was up pretty far in farm, and now he's pretty I wouldn't say he's far behind in farm, but he's getting further behind. Bebop surpassed him. The Pocket has surpassed him. So once you have this string of deaths, and if you notice what he's done, he's not fighting anymore. He's in the side lane pushing, farming. So once you get ahead in farm, it's worth it to fight, right? That's what he was doing. He was fighting, trying to use his farm that he has gotten to fight. But now he's pushing because he needs more farm. So, okay, so we just saw the combo there. So he hit his Arcane Surge, and then he immediately hit his ultimate. And we'll talk about the item here in a second. Let's see if we can get this kill. This is his flash. Ooh, gets a little tick off there from his ultimate. So he does net that kill as well. And Warden is really good at taking walkers, especially if you have your ult up. They absolutely melt. So Warden is definitely a viable split pusher there. And yeah, so Arcane Surge real quick while he hits this walker. You get ability range, you get ability duration, and spirit power on the next ability you use once you hit a dash jump. So if you see that ability surged right there, that is the signifier that the next ability you use is going to have that. And so, like I said, this is pretty much an ult build. He's gone all the way up in ultimate and then all the way up in willpower. And so what happens is you get all of those things that you really want on your ultimate once you hit that Arcane Surge. Ability range, fantastic on your ultimate. Duration, fantastic on your ultimate. And then that extra damage from that spirit power. So that's really the combo you're hitting here. And that's really the way that this build functions, is hitting your Arcane Surge, popping your ultimate so it gets all of those big buffs. And then another power spike here coming in as well, the Alchemical Fire. So Warden, like I said, this is a great hybrid build on Warden. You're still going to have decent gun damage, but there's a lot of spirit damage coming in as well. And so this combos really well with Binding Word. You know, you throw this down early after you've popped your Binding Word. So popping his ultimate there. He is going to get telekinesis by the Wraith, though. He's definitely going to have to back off. He does get rescue beamed here by the Kelvin, which was really, really good rescue beam there. Probably a little too aggressive there. There's not a lot of them here. There's only 3. So I think that was not as good of an initiation as you should have had. I think that was probably a mistake on his part. So his team is getting or defending the Yellow Walker here with the Lash. So that's really the only person you see on the map here. So just a symptom of initiating on too many people there. Thank God for the Kelvin and his rescue beam. So it does pop his Alchemical Fire there. You can see that on the ground. I think it still does damage, even though Kelvin Dome is up. Gets the kill on the Lash. They should be able to push this pretty hard. The only one that's not here is Abrams. So it's still a pretty even fight. Looks like the enemy team's just going to back off, though.
Stay 2 steps ahead of death, my friend.
So looks like they are going in on the Vindicta here. He's going to rotate over to try to help. Going for the buff. Okay. And yeah, that's another thing you're going to see a lot in high-level gameplay is very good buff timing. So 20-minute mark, you have buffs. I'm pretty sure it's every 5 minutes, starting at 10 minutes. So there you go. You see the combo there that he did. He threw his Alchemical Flask. He immediately pops the Binding Word, and then he pops the Alchemical Fire to try to get some really good damage initially on the person you're ganking there. Popping last stand here. Going for the 7. Going to get the 7 kill. Ooh. Race really low here. Probably get this kill as well. Ooh, got parried. Unlucky. Pops the Alchemical Fire dancing around here. Very good Alchemical Fire. So if you guys saw what he did there, he popped it and then he stood inside of it trying to dance around the bush to basically line of sight the Wraith. Pop the Alchemical Flask there to secure that kill. And yeah, so this is a really good mid-boss here. The only 2 up right now, Vindicta and Haze. both of them really don't have good ways to contest. Oh, he's really, really low. Vindicta, pretty unlucky they're out to get him. So yeah, they had 4 dead. And Vindicta and Hayes don't necessarily have good ults to contest mid-boss there. Hayes could, ult in, but that's not going to secure her mid-boss. That's just going to try to secure her kills. So really good call on the mid-boss there. And I cannot believe he didn't die there. I cannot believe that Vindicta missed so many snipes.
Tell you what, I'll throw in a free keychain. Let's take out Ace.
So now what they're going to want to do, ooh, man. Getting the kill on the Haze here, so you can see that they had pushed up here, which I think is generally good because you do have mid-boss and Rejuvenator. But he was able to rotate over here. Hayes was able to get 1 kill, but they eventually killed her, and that's going to be worth it because if you look right now, their death timers, they have Rejuvenator, are going to be pretty low. Hayes' death timer is much longer. So now what they should be able to do if they can group up here is to be able to push with an advantage. And so he's grabbing Urn. I think this is a great play too, especially with the shorter Urn location right now. And if you saw what he did there, before he grabbed the Urn, he's popping all his movement abilities, whether it's, your willpower, your fleet foot, anything that gives you movement, you pop it before you pick up the Urn, and then you're able to get there a lot faster. And then another power spiky item here, another tier 3 here, Heroic Aura. So this is pretty typical on Warden generally. I think it's more typical on gun builds, but once again, this is more of a hybrid build, so you're still doing plenty of gun damage. And having that bullet lifesteal, the movement speed, the extra health, all things that Warden really wants. And yeah, so just keeping lanes pushed here. It looks like he's going to try to rotate over and help the pocket. Early ult here. I don't know that he looked okay. He did get the arcane surge off. It's gonna. Ooh, that's a big bag. Hayes being really aggressive there. She does get a kill. It's on the pocket though. So once again, the Hayes death timer is going to be much longer than the pockets. So in the end, probably worth it for Warden's team. Although they haven't been able to do a ton with this Rejuvenator. They haven't really grouped up to push. I think that's kind of a mistake here. Their lanes are pushing right now, so it would be great for them to push this Walker because you're going to force the enemy to go over here and deal with these lanes. And getting this Walker, I think, would be a great way to use Rejuvenator. Although if you look in the left side here, Rejuvenator is close to running out, and they only have Rejuvenator on half of their team, so the push can be risky because you're not going to have those shorter death timers on all of your team if you decide to push here. And then another big item here coming in, Frenzy. Frenzy just has a lot of the stuff that Warden wants, gun damage, ammo. Warden really struggles for ammo, especially in the late game once you get some attack speed, basically. And then, you have that, once you get low health, you get a lot of boosted stats there with the bullet resist. Fast forward through this pause. And yeah, so state of the map right here. This game's actually still pretty even, although they are pretty far up in souls right now at 11k. 11k is not going to be that big of an advantage, though, in the late game. Between big team fights, maybe getting an Urn, you can really easily get back into the game from 10 to 15k soul deficit. So that's just something I encourage you guys to think about later in the game, is even if you feel like you're down, even if you feel like, they are winning a lot, the state of the map is exactly the same, right? Both have 1 Walker up. So they're the same on flex slots, the same on all of that. So going over to secure the buff here. Looks like Hayes did come over to try to secure the buff as well, but she's going to get turned on here. And yeah, so that's going to be a big kill on the Hayes. Wraith looks like she got a big ultimate off there. He is popping his ult. He did get stunned by the 7 there right after he popped his last stand. Going aggressive on the 7. Probably a mistake here, though. Trying to juke here. Does get hit by the dynamo ball, though. Oops, that's not who I wanted. So 7 popping his ult there. 7 ult not doing that much damage, actually. So it looks like they basically lost this team fight. Oh, did get the kill on the 7 there. Okay, so Pocket came and got that kill. It looks like they can probably turn this. No, Pocket's dead. It's a very back and forth team fight. Pretty confident win there, though, from the yellow team, the enemy team here of the Warden. So they're going to have to back off here. They don't want to give up too much. Although, to be fair, you don't have a mid-boss up. You do have the urn up. And it looks like they're probably going to be able to get Warden's team Walker here. Let's go back to Warden now that he's up. So yeah, like I said, a big team fight is going to turn things. Now they're only down 3k. And if they were able to secure the urn there off of that team fight, they probably would have been ahead in souls. So like I mentioned, even if you guys are down 10 to 15k, especially in the late game, it is 100% viable that one team fight and then grabbing an objective or two after that is going to completely turn the souls in your favor. So that's how games can swing now, and you just need to keep that in mind. Making good macro decisions. Ooh, did he disconnect here? I think he did. Okay, we're good. So just making sure you're making good macro decisions in the game is going to help you stay in the game and even come back and win games that look like they're losing. So popping all of his movement abilities here, grabbing the urn. Like I said, Warren's one of the better ones to take urn because you have a lot of movement speed from the different items you're buying and from willpower, your skill.
I'll lead them from the front.
And so let's talk about team comps here and what you're probably going to be looking for. So their team comp is actually a bit unfortunate. They don't have a lot of good ways to initiate fights. You could initiate with a 7 stun, maybe a big Wraith ultimate. I imagine Wraith has, yeah, the last 5 in her ultimate now to get all of the enemies in the area with the ultimate. Does get knocked down by the haze. Sleep daggered as well. He's going to pop his ult here. He does get his frenzy off. Rescue beam by the Kelvin. Chasing the haze. Someone popped knockdown on her. So yeah, I should get that kill right now. Oh, big damage from the lash there. So this is an even team fight right now. Don't want to push too hard. So just trying to stand in his alchemical fire if you saw that. So they do get the kill on the 7 and the viscous. So now they can definitely push this fight. Pocket does get picked. Ooh, big binding word on the Wraith. Surely this is a kill. Oh, man. The lash dived right into that Bebop hole. That's unfortunate for him. Chasing the Vindicta here. This is definitely a winning team fight for them. And mid-boss has just spawned, so they can definitely do this mid-boss. So yeah, team comp-wise for them, it's hard for them to start a fight. For Warden's team, though, I mean, you have a Bebop hook, you have a Dynamo ult. You could even get an Abrams ult if you really wanted to, or a big Kelvin dome to isolate the fight. So I really think the blue team here has a lot better comp. And that's gonna. I think that helped them win the fight there. So they grab mid boss now. Most of their lanes are pushed. This lane will be pushing because of the stronger minions. So if you see they're all grouping here in this lane with the last walker, definitely want to grab that last walker. I'm pretty sure it's yeah. So sometimes I gotta check flex slots because they've been changing flex slots around, but that's gonna net them a flex slot, which is gonna be great. Big ult here. He is getting knocked down though. Does get the kill on the 7. And he's going to get sniped there. I think that was a bit of an aggressive play there. They were able to get the kill on the 7. They just got the kill on the Vindicta as well. But you can be a lot more aggressive when you have Rejuvenator because doing a 1-for-1 trade with Rejuvenator is completely worth it. Because if you look now, 7's on a 30-second death timer. He's on a 7-second death timer. So this is how you get into their base, right? You force a fight with your Rejuvenator. Even if you die, it's not the end of the world because now he's already back up. He's going to be able to... Ooh, not speed in. That stinks. But he's going to be able to get back into the fight. And now they're all on long death timers, and the entire blue team is up. So they actually should be able to win off this. Don't look down here. No spoilers. And yeah, a few more big items from him here. Improved reach and superior duration. Definitely going to be on last stand as well. Like I said, hybrid build, but pretty ult focused as well, especially with the Arcane Surge in your ultimate. And if you notice what he's been doing, he's ulting very early in the fight, right? Very early in the fight to make sure you get maximum value out of your ultimate. Ooh, is Lash going to get a big ult here? What a rescue beam. Dynamo and this Kelvin have been hitting some big rescue beams. Big ult by the Warden too. 2 kills, there we go. And that'll be game. GG. If you've all made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit that like button. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of these new items. I think they're pretty cool. I think this has been a great patch. If you enjoy this type of content, please subscribe to my channel. I know I've been gone for a while, guys. Content has been slow. I apologize for that. I got pretty busy with work and then I got sick and it all just kind of cascaded on me there. So that's why I've been gone for a while. Content is going to ramp back up here. I'm also going to start reviewing viewer games. So some of you guys have been submitting replays on the Discord. Really appreciate that. I'm going to start doing those games as well to couple with these Eternus reviews so we can see, hey, what does a really good player look like? And then we're going to be able to pick out some of the things that you guys are doing wrong so that I can help you guys improve and try to hit that Eternus rank. So if you guys are interested in submitting your reviews, I will go over them and then post some text about, notes that I have for you, things that you guys can improve on. And then if I think it would be a good video, I'm going to ask your permission to use it. And if you give me your permission, I will probably use it in an upcoming video for a replay review. That's a non-Eternus ranked game. So if you guys are interested in that, Discord link down below in the description. Once again, thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next one.